Okay, so let's continue with our Python coding exercise series, and we are covering some Leetcode question. So open the leetcode.com and go to the problems tab, and in the search question number 452, hit enter. So we have this question: minimum number of arrows to burst the balloons, and it's come under the medium category. Just click on it. So we have some question is given, and if you see the question is very large, but it is very easy, so you don't need to worry about that. We are going to read that question. So we question said minimum number of arrows to burst the balloon. So it is something related to that we have some balloons are given and we need to find the arrows, how many arrows are required to burst that particular balloons, right? Okay, there are some spherical balloons tapped onto a flat wall that represent the XY plane. So they said there is a one flat wall, right? So which is a XY plane. So let's go to the whiteboard. So we have XY plane, right? So where I am moving my cursor, just focus on that. So this is Y axis, this is X axis. So we have XY plane, right? And they said there are some spherical balloons tapped. Tapped means we have just pasted onto that flat wall. So we have some spherical balloon and we have pasted on that. Fine. The balloon are represented in 2D integer array points. So there are some points arrays given. So this points array is given and this is called by balloons where point of I is x start and x end. So we have some points is given. Point is a list of an array, right? And so point of I means the first element. So first element is 10, 16. So 10, 16 means this is the starting point of balloon. This is the end point of balloon, right? So if we want to and denote say balloons whose horizontal diameter stretches from x start and end. So balloons are pasted on the particular wall in the horizontal way. So they are this is the horizontal. All right. So if I draw the balloon in this way, so this is vertical, but it's been drawn as a horizontal. So all the balloons are drawn horizontal. All right. And you don't need to know the exact y coordinate. So they said you don't need to worry about the y coordinate, just focus on the x coordinate, which is fine. All right. So let's first draw some diagram. So we have x comma y axis. We pick first point 10 comma 16. All right. So 10 is the starting point, 16 is the end point. So on x axis, where is 10? So 10 is here. So we draw some balloon here. So starting is 10 and is 16. Then second is 2, 8. So where is 2 point here? 2 point is here and 8 ends here. So we draw one balloon, or you can say we paste one balloon on the wall. Then 1, 6, we paste one balloon from starting from 1 and ending at 6. Then 7, 12, then we paste here, then 12. Because until unless you did not draw the diagram now, then you can't understand the question. That's why to draw the diagram is mandatory. Then 7, 12. Okay. Now what next? Arrows can be shoot up directly vertically. Okay. So in the positive y direction. So what is positive y and what is negative? Positive y means upward and negative y means downward. So they said the arrows, because we need to know the number of arrows to burst the balloon. And to burst the balloon, we need to shoot our arrows, right? So arrows are given. No, arrows are not given. We need to find the arrows. So we need to fire our arrows from y-axis and vertically. So we will fire from downwards till upwards, right? So it could be any number of arrows. So these reds are the arrows. Okay. And they said a balloon with x start and x end is but burst by an arrow shoot at x if x start is less than x end, and there is no limit to the number of arrows. So they said there is no limits to number of arrows. It could be any. So it means you have n number of arrows, you just need to find the minimum number of arrows. So you need to find the return the minimum number of arrows. So minimum number of arrows, so you need to return some integer. So that's why the return type is integer, and points is list of list, and also it is contains an integer, and the function is find minimum arrow solution. Okay. So in this we have drawn that, and they have mentioned the balloon will be burst. So okay, if you read this point, a balloon with x start and x end is burst. So x start and x end is burst by an arrow shoot at x if x start less than x and less than. So basically they said if we shoot our arrow, so as an example, if I shoot our arrow here, will the balloon will going to burst? No, because it did not even like touch my balloon, right? So to bust my balloon, so at least that should be touched. So one way is that like whatever the number of points to bust the balloons, I can shoot that number of arrows. But that by that way we have to find we are finding the maximum number of arrows, because for one balloon one arrow, for second balloon second arrow, for third balloon third arrow, for fourth balloon fourth arrow. But here we need to find the minimum number of arrows. So minimum number of arrows. So it means one balloon can burst maybe one balloon, or maybe two balloons, maybe three balloons, maybe four balloons. Okay, fine. So if you see one, so let's try to like we have drawn that diagram, right? So we try that. So if I shoot my arrow at this point, so you don't need to worry about the point basically. But if I shoot my arrow this way, right, so that it should touch both the balloons, right? So and the arrow should be like vertically. So you can't say that okay, I am going to diagonally arrow and it is going to bust everything. No, you have to shoot the arrow vertically only. So if I shoot this arrow vertically, then it is going to touch this balloon and it is going to touch this balloon as well, right? And with one arrow, I am like we are able to bust two balloons, right? But can with one arrow we are able to bust three balloons? No, because if we shoot our arrow here, right? So here, then first balloon is going to be miss. Then first balloon is going to be miss, right? So by this arrow we are able to bust one like two balloons, so these two balloons are bust. Okay, what about the second remaining two? So if I like shoot my arrow in this way, right, a vertical upwards, and it is going to touch both the balloons. So using the second arrow, I am going to bust the remaining two, right? So all there are four balloons and all the four balloons are going to burst. And how many number of arrows needed? Two. So the answer is two. So for this point, so the answer is two. But from the coding point of perspective, how we did that? How we going to know, okay, whether we need to shoot from here or whether we need to shoot from here? So basically, if the points are overlap, right? If two balloons are overlap, right, then it means that can be burst by one arrow, right? So to find whether that balloon is overlap or not, so if I draw something, if there is a one line here and there is a, sorry, let me draw, and there is another line here. So to find whether these two lines are overlapping or not, so what you have to do is the starting point of second line, right? So this is the second line. The starting point of the second line should be less than the end point of the first line. All right. So starting point of this line should be less than what? The end point. And then we can say, okay, it's like or like overlapping. Along with that, if we see the constraint, so they said points, at least one point should be given. So you don't need to worry about the base condition, like if there is no points, then I am going to return the arrows is a zero. No, you don't need to worry because the constraint says at least one balloon will be given. Okay. Now, so what we will going to do? So here, like to find that how many numbers are, first we have to do, we are going to sort this, because they are like given in such a way 10 16 2 8 1 6 7 12. Then like I have to run multiple loops to find out, okay, if like a starting point of the second point is less than the starting point of the less than the end like end point. So like better we can sort it, because like in this when we draw this we sorted this, so 1 6 2 8 7 12 10 16. But by which key we are going to sort this, because there are two keys, like one is like x0, one is x1, right? So by which key we are going to sort it? So we are going to sort it all these balloons based on the end point, right? So 6, then 8, then 12, and then 16. So based on the end point we are sorted these balloons. So okay, we are sorted. Now, so at least one arrow is required, because there is a one balloon. So what we are going to say, okay, one arrow is required. All right. So now we need to check the remaining balloons. Remaining balloons means remaining points. So what we can do is just we can run a for loop, because we we are going to run a for loop. Okay, so for loop, 1 second, let me show, or let me take a pen. So for this point, we can ignore that because at least one arrow is given. So maybe there is an arrow variable which is our like answer variable. We can initialize it one because one. Then for the remaining balance, we can run a loop. Okay, when we run a loop, do we need to increment arrow or not? Because within the loop, we are going to increment our arrow or not, right? And do we need to increment or not? How we are going to know? All right. So what we are going to check is whether the starting point, right? If the starting point is less than this, so for because we are running a loop from here, so better we are going to store this end point in some other variable. So we are going to check, okay, because we are running for a loop from here. So starting point 2 is less than 6. Yes. If 2 is less than 6, it means it can be burst. It is overlapping. So you don't need to like increment the arrow. Right. Then check next. If 7 is less than 6, no, 7 is not less than 6. So it means so this balloon is not overlapping with 1 6. So now we are going to increment our arrow because uh, one arrow completed here and this balloon come, and if this balloon come, at least to shoot we need one arrow, so one arrow is required, one more arrow is required, so we incremented our arrow. Now you can say our problem statement is this only. So if problem statement is this only, we have to update our end variable as well. So we updated our end and we already updated our arrow. So now for loop will come here. So we will check, okay, if 10 is less than 12 or our endpoint, yes. So it means it's overlapping. So if it is overlapping, then we don't need to update our arrow variable, right? So this is the problem. And but like how to code that? Let's write some code in the Python. Okay. So what is the first point? First point is we need to sort our points, right? So we have the points is given, points dot sort. All right. So generally we do that, but we need to, because if we just do that point dot sort, it is going to sort based upon the first key. But we need to sort upon the second key. All right. So what we can do is key is equal to lambda x is equal to 1. All right. So now we are like sorting our. Okay, so syntax is like basically key. And what is the key value? So key is like a function, a lambda function. And lambda take one argument, and that argument should be x of 1. X of 1 means like basically the second point. Okay, now we did that. What we are doing next? So like because we know at least one arrow is required. Okay, so one arrow is required. So arrows is equal to 1 because one arrow is required. Okay, and we need to take some end variable. All right, and so end is 6 because end is so points. So first balloon and its second point. Okay, now we need to run a loop from here. So let's update it our points. Points is equal to, or you can see the remaining points from first till end. Okay, now we need to run a loop for, so we need to run a loop from here, right? So for start comma stop in points. Okay, so because like this is a like start comma stop means like start will like start variable 2 will come into the start and 8 will come into the like stop variable. Okay, now what we have to do? So if if start if start this start this start is less than 6, less than 6 means less than uh, end. All right, if start is less than end, then do we need to do anything? No. All right, else. Otherwise what we have to do is we have to increment our arrows plus equal to 1 because these are overlapping. Then we will go to the next. Okay, 7 is 7. This is the starting point. So this starting point is less than 6. No, this is not less than 6. So what we have to do is, let me drop this. So what we have to do is we have to increment our arrow. Along with that, we have to update our end. So end is now stop because we are on this point. So who start is 7 and end is 12. So end is equal to stop. Then we have to return arrows. All right. So here, if you notice, this condition unnecessary we are checking. So instead of start is less than end, can we do start is greater than end? And we can remove this pass and the else condition, because if it is greater, then just increment. Otherwise, like it's not even going to do. Otherwise, it's same basically. We are just like saving some lines of code. That's it. So let's try to run it. So our sample cases has been accepted. So let's try to submit it. So you could see the runtime we beat approximately 99% of the users and 50% in the memory. So not sure why memory it's take more, because we are reusing it. Same thing. But anyhow, like because sometimes if we multiple time run it, then it update this result. Okay. So you can also try this question. So it's basically easy. If you just come into by looking at the medium category and see the description, then maybe you will get, oh no, I can't solve this. But if you just forget about the logic, just forget about the logic. If you just whatever they are saying in the code, in the description, just try to draw that. That's it. Just try to draw that and find the number of balloons. So sorting is the key only. So sorting is the key. So as soon as we know, okay, we have to sort, then I think it's easy, because we know, okay, we have to just to check whether the balloons are overlapping or not. And how to check whether the balloons are overlapping? If the start point comes less than the previous balloon end point of the previous balloon, right? So if it is overlapping, then we don't need some extra arrow, right? But if it is not overlapping, then we need the arrow. The same thing we did. If the start point is greater, so this start is 7 is greater than 6, greater than 6, then we need the arrow, because already one arrow like we use, so we need the arrow. Let's increment our arrow. And if we increment our arrow, so this is our, like you consider as a new problem, then we need to update our end as well. So end is equal to stop, and that's it. So it is going to run for all the balloons, and we are going to return our arrows, right? And why we initialize arrow is equal to 1? Because we know at least one balloon is required. All right. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of the video. You can also try this question. Thank you.